The dust has barely settled after the trial of the Seven, and yet everything feels different. Episode 6 doesn't explode with spectacle. It lingers in the silence after impact. This finale understands something powerful. The real consequences of violence aren't in the clash of steel, but in the quiet mourning that follows. Dunk survives, a prince does not. 3 good men are gone. And the question that hangs over the entire episode is painfully simple. Why? Why does the humble hedge knight walk away breathing while the realm loses one of its brightest hopes? That question isn't just about guilt. It's about destiny, legacy, and the terrifying weight of survival. Dunk doesn't feel like a victor. He feels like a mistake the gods forgot to correct, and that emotional foundation reshapes everything that follows. What makes this episode extraordinary is how it flips the idea of success on its head. At the beginning of the season, Dunk wanted recognition. He wanted a lord to notice him. He wanted a place in a castle, steady coin, respect. Beat the finale, he has powerful men offering him service, prestige within reach, doors opening that would have once seemed impossible, and he turns away from it all. Why? Because the cost was too high. The death of a beloved prince casts a shadow over every opportunity. For the Highborn, the tournament was glorious drama. For Dunk, it was blood and regret. That contrast is the show's quiet indictment of feudal power. Lord Street war like sport, like legend in the making. Hedge knights and commoners carry the scars. And in that divide, we begin to see the deeper fracture in Westeros. Resentment toward dragon rule simmering beneath ceremony and ritual. The funeral pyre burns. But without dragons, the fire feels hollow. It's tradition without magic, authority without awe. The Targaryens still hold the throne, but something intangible is fading: fear, perhaps, or reverence. The most haunting moment of the episode comes when the prince's son asks why the gods spared Dunk instead of his father. There's no rage in the question, just confusion. It forces Dunk, and us, to confront the idea that survival might imply purpose. If good men died defending him, then his life must mean something. That is the burden of being spared. And this is where the episode pivots from grief to legacy. Dunk begins to understand that living isn't enough. He has to justify it. That realization directly connects to the central conflict over Aegon, the debate about whether Egg should remain in court or ride the road. With the Hedge Knight, is more than a logistical choice, it's a philosophical war. Does madness come from blood or from upbringing? We've seen what isolation, entitlement, and unchecked power can do to princes. We've seen cruelty nurtured in gilded halls. And when Egg nearly gives in to the same violent impulse that defines his brother, the show delivers its clearest warning. Power corrupts fastest in those who are never taught humility. Egg standing over his brother with a blade is one of the most chilling images of the season. Not because he succeeds, but because he almost does. For the first time, he feels powerful. The power to end suffering. The power to control his own fear. In Westeros, that is always a turning point. The famous line about the gods tossing a coin when a Targaryen is born isn't just about madness. It's about how power shapes character. Will you wield it with compassion or cruelty? Dunk understands, instinctively, that the answer lies not in blood but in experience. Castles breed arrogance. The road breeds perspective. So when he refuses comfort, refuses a permanent place at court, refuses security, he is making the most important decision of the series so far. He cannot fix the realm. He cannot silence whispers of rebellion. He cannot undo a prince's death. But he can raise one future king differently. He can teach him what hunger feels like, what injustice looks like, what it means to be small in a world ruled by giants. And that may change history more than any sword. The Penny Tree story deepens this theme beautifully. Knights nail a coin to the tree before riding to war. If they return, they reclaim it. Most never do. The tree becomes a monument to unfinished lives. When Dunk nails his coin at the end, it's not just a tribute, it's a vow. Will return. He will not let his survival be meaningless. It's subtle, but it reframes him entirely. He may doubt his knighthood, may question whether he was ever truly made a knight, but his actions define him more than ceremony ever could. The children already reenacting his battle show how quickly myth forms. Dunk sees himself as a fraud. The realm sees a hero, and that tension between self-perception and legend will only grow. In a world obsessed with lineage and titles, the truest knight may be the one who never properly received the honor. Looking ahead, the groundwork for future upheaval is unmistakable. Nobles openly mutter that the only good dragon is a dead one. The Targaryen grip feels stable, but stability built on fading mystique is fragile. rebellions in Westeros don't erupt overnight. They brew in quiet resentment. The absence of dragons changes the psychological balance of power. Without living symbols of conquest, the ruling family becomes just another dynasty, flawed, divided, human, and internally, the fractures are already forming. Brothers resent each other. Fathers fear they have failed their sons. Heirs are questioned. In that environment, even a single different upbringing can alter the course of succession. If Egg grows into a ruler who understands the small folk because he lived among them, that could ripple outward for generations. And if he fails, if the weight of legacy crushes him, then the realm slides closer to the chaos we know defines its future. The final ride into the horizon captures that fragile hope. Duncan and Egg aren't marching toward glory. They are choosing uncertainty. The playful correction from 7 kingdoms to 9 kingdoms symbolizes their dynamic perfectly. Egg knows the maps, the history, the structure of power. Dunk knows people. Together, they represent balance. Knowledge without humility breeds tyranny. Strength without compassion breeds fear. But knowledge guided by empathy might produce something different. That's the radical promise of this finale. Not dragons reborn. Not armies assembled. Just a knight and a boy choosing the harder road because it might make him better. In the end, the episode leaves us with a quiet but profound possibility. Perhaps the gods did not spare Dunk by accident. Perhaps survival in this world is not random. We've seen prophecy, dreams, and fate bend history before. But here, destiny may hinge not on magic, but on character. In a saga defined by fire and blood, the most revolutionary force might be kindness. Dunk's greatest strength isn't his size or his sordidness, his refusal to let power change who he is. And as tomorrow approaches for Westeros, that quality may matter more than any dragon ever did. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.